I call out Mr. Camel here, but I can remember being 9, 10 years old, and Dwight Nicholas, Palm Beach Post, they talked about the Camel-Nicholas battle. And I remember he pulled the ball down, and Dwight hit that corner, and he ran up out of the angle. And I got so excited thinking about it. And I said, I'm gonna be like that one day. At 9 years old, I was gonna be like a black man at Clewiston High School. Listen now, listen. I was gonna be like a black man at Clewiston High School that ran a 14.5 in the 110s. He ran a 39 flat in the 300-meter hurdles. He ran a 50-second quarter on the anchor, and he was black. I didn't care. Guess what? I didn't know that my brother that was 5 years older than me had intentions of being just like Dwight Nicholas already. He wore number 11 at CHS. I wore number 11 at CHS. Eric Green played for the Miami Dolphins. Told me the other day, best compliment I ever got in my life. He said, KT, you didn't know that I wore number 11 because of you? I said, man, come on now. Lisa was like, you are so happy right now in your little corner booth in Sunrise Restaurant. You think you are the man. I said, I don't think I'm the man, but I'm pretty high up there. I had an NFL player trying to do what I did. But you know what? You think about Betty Lou Timgren and Otis Timgren, Grandma and Grandpa, third generation here. I'm the fifth one now. You think about the Hilliard family. You think about the Roberts family, the Roberts Canal over in LaBelle. You think about Jack Spratt Canal. You think about Evelyn Jackman, Terry and Jackie and what they've done and what Justin is doing now. Millses. The Millses, Grandma went to school with Bubba Mills. I'm leaving some out, but let me tell you what, they didn't come down here in the state of Florida to make it easy for them. They carved the canals. They went out there and fenced it down. They paid a half cent on it or did the improvements and were giving it. The Hammock family. That's what this is. This is what makes us. And I get offended. And I try to hold my emotions back whenever I believe Bull Sugar is here tonight. I'm so tickled to see y'all here. I'm so tickled so that y'all can feel the atmosphere in this room. And I'm sure there's other people from Martin County. Steve Layton, who I met through Congressman Tom Rooney's campaign, has been a dear friend of mine. His wife is a councilman at the city of Stewart. They get it. They engage the conversation. They're trying to find solutions. But when I am being dictated to by the state and or federal government, it gets a little frustrating, because I go back to the predecessors that allowed a football team. It sounds hokey, but a football team of 26. Glade Central had a whopping team of 31. Everybody and their dog played. Okay, you didn't leave the field, but you go play Fort Pierce Central at 75 plus and beat the fool out of them all night long. Go play Gardens at 65 deep and hammer them. And then they come out to our house, and it's a little bit psychological, advantage, no doubt. When you ain't seen a light from the moment you leave Wellington and you get here, we got you, baby. You in the sticks now, But make no bones about it. That's what makes us, baby. That's what makes us. And I jokingly say all the time, I got muck between my toes and I'm proud of it. But make no bones about it. I live on Lake Bottom. Hookers Point is reclaimed Lake Bottom that Florida Crystals and Okalana Corporation gave to people and said, hack it up. Make your existence. Make it happen. And Aunt B and Miss Weekhorse and all those people out there, they did it. And now we got the new Martinez clan. They're doing it out there. But that's the stuff that gets me fired up. And then when I hear when I hear a woman in Okeechobee County on Tuesday night say, it was stated, she said, it flooded in 26 and 28, you should have had more sense to know you don't need to be there. Really? How dare you? Really? That's offensive of the highest level to me. That's telling me that you're not on our level. You don't get it. And I take great exception to that. Now, I'll tell you this much. I've represented this community my entire life, not just the 7.5 years that I've been in elected office. I've been to DC the last 4 years in a row. Congressman Hastings, thank you so much for allowing the Everglades Caucus to get together and for making us, that's a bipartisan group. Congressman Roy Diaz-Balart, he'll tell you everybody, but it's Diaz-Balart, it's Rooney, it's Hastings, Frankel, they're all there. Deutsch, they're all there, and they're trying to find solutions to this issue. There is no silver bullet. There is no magic pill. There is no fix it tomorrow. I learned a new phrase this week, interim measures. Interim measures is what's going to, yeah, I kind of laughed too. It's what's going to allow us to try to put contracts into place so that when we do experience the highs or the lows and the deluges that we've seen in the last, this summer, and, November was 11 degrees warmer on the average, and then we had one of the wettest Januaries in the history of the state, and now that turns into essentially a perfect stew out on Lake Okeechobee. But we're not an anomaly that's really different. I talked to my colleagues in Wakulla County, in Gulf County, up around the Great Big Bend. They're experiencing the same nonsense, that we're seeing with the rivers dumping into their estuarine environments up there. So, we're not isolated. This is happening all over the world. This is happening in Australia. And I don't want to get into the hyperbole of, is it not a calamity? You absolutely guarantee when you see the amount of algae that you see in those coastal communities, and it's stopping people from making reservations, and it's stopping people from spending dollars in their community, and it's like Raymond has said multiple times now, it's an economy to scale. If it's stopping our 12 guys out of Roland Martin and Mary Ann's Marina from experiencing somebody coming down from Nova Scotia or Michigan or you name it, it's the same thing on a greater magnitude on those coastal communities. But it means just as much to us. It means just as much to us. The district, South Florida Water Management District, thank you so much for being transparent in your processes. Phil Flood, you've been a staunch supporter of this entire region. And I got a quick question for you. Raise your hand if you're 50 years or younger. If you're female and you really don't want to get in call, I understand it. But if you're 50 years or younger, just pick your hand up right now. That's right at half or a little bit of the majority of the room. I want to lay a challenge for 50 years and younger. I'm 39 years old. I'm 40 in September. I know this stuff frontwards, backwards, and centered, and you pay me $36,000 a year to represent on your behalf. But let me tell you what, I go to a number of meetings throughout, actually DC and both coasts all the time, and I rarely, if ever, see people in that age range or younger that are attending these meetings. I see my man Pete Quashis at everything I go to. Pete Quashis, representative of Audubon, Southwest Florida, great friend of mine. He and his wife, every time I turn around, they come up, they compare notes with me. Now, did you hear what I said? The Audubon in Southwest Florida. He is a good man that gets it. He understands acquisition and taking land off the tax rolls is ignorant. Do what you're going to do with the lands that you have. Let's get the projects done, and then we'll worry about the other elsewhere. But what I'm saying is that we've got to essentially amass an army. Now, I guess I get it. I make sure that the material for Quality Electric is on every job. I make sure that my employees are there, and I support our company every day to the best of my abilities. But I'm also thankful to be serving for you. But we've got to find time in our schedules to get educated about this stuff. We've got to engage the process. We've got to do the letters to the editor. We've got to step up and engage. Like Sheryl Sandberg said, lean in for the women. Do it both. Have a great career and be a great mother. On this process, lean in. Because the experts that are taking care of it, they're not represented through this area. When I'm talking about us locally. Ms. Hammock, it's not her job only. It's all of our jobs. It's all of our jobs. And don't think that there's people out there they've got it under control and they're taking care of it. We've got to engage the process. I've beat that horse to death now. Thank you. And make no bones about it. This stuff ain't gonna get you a date now, okay? When you can talk to somebody about 10 parts per billion and rainwater's at 14 to 20, you ain't gonna woo nobody nothing with that, all right? You're just doing it for the sake of your community and extending our livelihoods, because this stuff is not impressive. It is a bunch of nerd, jargon-rich stuff. It's horrible, and I'm embarrassed by how much I know about it, but it's imperative. It's imperative that we know it. I'll close with this. Thank you to the people that we have from the coast. I want to ask that if any of you all do go to a meeting in any coastal community, don't boo. Don't be bashful about where you're from. It's embarrassing for me, and it's aggravating to me whenever I go to an event in Martin County, or I go to an event in Lee County, and I get up, and short of having a tomato thrown at you, they say it, okay? Listen, I don't work for U.S. Sugar. I work for Quality Electric Contracting Incorporated. We've been in business since 1972. Cricket and Dole started it. Me and Kenneth are going to take over it and run with it. We're based out of Clewiston, Florida. How about them apples? America's sweetest town. But make no bones about it. As it comes to United States Sugar Corporation, as it comes to Florida Crystals, as it comes to the men and women that go to work every day, still in their 70s, in their 80s. And that's not an exaggeration. If you don't believe me, I'll tell you a great story offline about an 81-year-old that I went to an equipment auction with up in Brooksville who jokes on a 69-year-old who falls over. Great story. He gets up every morning and he's in a tractor after he checks the water, and it's what he does. And that happens all over this area every day, all the time. I will support them. I will do my job to have their back, and I ask that you engage the process as well. With that being said, I hope that we're still able to get to a question and answer session, because I would like to have my friend Steve Layton make some comments. Thank you so much, Commissioner McKinley, who's been on those trips, who's actually led me on those trips in D.C. and helped me to go door to door, and has said very, very diplomatically, I know it's a little bit difficult when Hendry County doesn't have a federal lobbyist, okay? Doesn't have but about 12 people in the grand scheme of things, because 40,000 strong, okay? But whenever I'm able to go in and saddle up essentially with someone that represents 1.4 million people, and she's able to put me right under her wing and walk me into this office, that's huge. So thank you so much, Commissioner McKinley. Thank you so much. And we're doing our part. I ask that you engage the process. I apologize for getting fired up, but I like it, baby. I got muck between my toes, and I'm fired up to be here with y'all. Thank y'all so much. Engage the process.